Okay, so what we're going to do on this project is going to be what's called a Crayon Resist. And basically what we're going to do is a design in crayon on our white paper, and then we're going to go back and paint over it with watercolors. Crayons are made with wax. And so the wax, once it's built up on the surface, won't let the watercolor soak into the paper. So unlike that other project we did where you colored the entire surface with crayon, what you want to do on this is leave white paper showing so that there's places for the watercolor to absorb. And what I'm going to have you all do on this, and you can do this any way you want, I like to teach the difference between warm and cool colors. So basically the warm colors would be red, orange, and yellow. So if you want to use warm colors with your crayons, those are what you would choose. Or if you want to use the cool colors, you'd have purple, blue, and I have a couple different greens here. Those would be my cool colors. Actually, the yellow that comes with the box of crayons is kind of a cool yellow, so you could use it here as well. So it's up to you if you want to use yellow with the cools. It definitely belongs with the warm colors though. So what I'm going to do, I want to make the colors stand out, so I'm going to use the warm colors. I'm not going to do a fancy design, I'm just going to give you an idea, but I want you to try to be creative. Think about this whole picture plane, think about activating that entire surface, using the colors, any kind of design you want. I'm just going to make some circles. Of different colors. Let a few of them overlap. Now, here's the funny thing. We always wonder, what in the world can you use a white crayon for? I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't even know why they made them, because even on construction paper, it doesn't show up very well. But this is a project where the white crayon comes in handy like you can't even believe. So what I'm going to do is on each of these little bubbles, I'm just going to put a little highlight on it. I'm being a little bit stylized. I'm putting a little cartoon shiny spot on them, but you'll get the idea once I paint over it. And if crayons break, it's not bad. This is a sacred object, but it is not a precious object. A crayon is simply a little barrel of wax with color in it that we use to put onto the paper. So if it breaks, that's still plenty of medium left to use. So let me quickly get these done. The bad thing about using white on white paper is you can't always tell if you've been there. So what I'm going to do is kind of look at an angle. Yeah, I've got one on each of them. So if you chose warm color crayons, you're going to paint with just the cool colors, and vice versa. If you use cool color crayons, you're going to do the painting over them with warm color watercolor. So I'm going to just take this, mix up a little bit of my blue, and you can see my blue, even though I used the hair dryer, it's still pretty soft. If you let yours dry overnight before you do these projects, it'll come out a lot better. So what I'm going to do is I can either come back over this and do other circles, which might be interesting, little ghost circles in the cool colors that are going behind the other. Oh, that's the problem with some of these brushes. I haven't used this one enough and it's still shedding. So you could just paint ghost circles over it. Let's do a few purplish ones. I missed on that one. I want a little more purple than that. Now, if you've already got these mixed up, you can cheat and just take a little red and it'll make a nice intense purple if you mix a little extra red in it. So that's one way to do it, to do a detailed design that you use over the other one. Or here's the other thing you can do. If you want to use this wash brush, you're going to use a lot more water, and you're just going to paint the whole page. And then if you want to get that paper saturated, you can actually get really nice blends and just slowly bring the wet watercolor down onto the paper. And if you want to change colors, you just start. Here, let me bring some green into that. I broke into the little more water on that. So you can just kind of do a blend, and if you keep the paper damp, you can go over it and get a really nice blend on it like that. So those are the two ways you can use the brushes. You can either do a design, you can do a wash, you can maybe do a little bit of both. If you take your time at home, see how where these started to dry a little bit. I don't know if you can see that or not. Where this started to dry a little bit, when I painted over it, that original painting still showed. And so that's another way to do it. Also, if you want to use a paper towel and dab at it, I didn't even mean to have this here, but I do. If you want to rush it and kind of dry these a little bit, I'm just going to give that a couple seconds. And I'm going to go ahead and mix a little more purple. And then if I paint over that, those are still going to show. So have fun with this. Just kind of, once you see how the material works a little bit, be creative. Come up with some interesting ways that you mix paint and the crayons. And there's no reason you can't go back over something. Obviously, it's going to be hard to draw on this. If you want to add more layers of crayon, you have to let this dry. And again, I just always buy regular waxy crayons, non-washable, because all of these projects we're doing, washable crayons will break down in the process. And it might be a cool effect, but I really like to just always stick with basic Crayola. And I don't mean to be a snob on any art materials except crayons. Even rose art, they're not quite as good a quality of pigment in there. And when you color with them, they don't cover up the same. I mean, Crayola is just the best crayons. So I recommend always buying Crayolas. But that gives you an idea of what to do. Be creative and have fun.